Welcome to this episode of Colorado Films, the podcast. Imagine a thriving Black neighborhood full of families, business, music, laughter, and generations of history. Now imagine watching it disappear, not by accident, but by design. 13 Fires is the original stage production, written and directed by Curtis K. Rodgers, that tells a story of one family's struggle against displacement, redlining, and the forces that reshape communities across America. Inspired by the history of Indiana Avenue in Indianapolis and connected to the stories unfolding in cities around the world, around the United States, like Boulder, Denver, and Aurora today. The play asks the powerful question: what happens when a community's memories, homes, and dreams are treated as expendable? Through love, loss, resilience, and resistance, 13 Fires invites audiences to witness not only what was taken, but what refuses to be forgotten. Curtis, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, 13 Fires. So you spout your home in Indianapolis. What prompted you to make this a theatrical performance?
Yeah. It's about my home in Indianapolis. Indiana Avenue is what it used to be called. And again, I just wanted to just say thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be able to talk about it. The story, really what kind of prompted me to writing it was one, just like the resurfacing of what happened there. Interestingly enough, the play covers the displacement of this historically Black neighborhood at the hands of a university that landed there in the early 1900s, and they've just been expanding since they've landed there, really 1920s. And as a way of that university making amends for the harm that they had done, they began encouraging the community to learn and remember about what happened there, and also start creating art to tell the story. And they were funding that as a way of making, like I said, amends. So that's how I first heard about it. I didn't know that the neighborhood that I grew up in was once, a neighborhood really built by the Black community as a way of escaping some of the horrors of the South by landing to a place that hadn't really been touched and building it up and making it safe for themselves. So I was just totally void of that history until I came across this project to tell the story. And in fact, my first introduction into theater was doing a local play in my hometown called Price of Progress, where they were in a different way telling the story of Indiana Avenue. And ever since then, it started to make sense, right? Because I'm hearing this story, it's telling the history, and then I'm looking around the city at where some of these places were, and there's murals that kind of pay homage to that time and to that history. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that's about. So it just really created a different kind of sense of belonging to where I've grown up. More, I want to say agency, right? I guess what Indianapolis is now is a predominantly white college, especially the downtown area, which is what Indiana Avenue, where it was from the downtown areas, circulating basically around 10th Street from the west, south, and east, from the center point of Indianapolis. But yeah, that area now is the university's there. It's high rises and malls, and like I said, it's a predominantly white space. So I've always felt like not being a person with much money or access, didn't feel like I really belong in the downtown area of Indianapolis. So to be to not only learn about this history, but to embody that history through theater was just incredibly healing. It was incredibly, you know how it is when you get that thing that you needed that you didn't know you needed.
Yeah.
It was that kind of experience. So that's what led me to write it. And there's a big part of me that feels that these kinds of stories, regardless of if we're from Indianapolis or not, they translate everywhere. Like you mentioned, Aurora, Denver, with the Five Points neighborhood.
Yep.
You
North side
know,
too, and it's predominantly, the Five Points was a predominantly black neighborhood when I was growing up. Now it's been
yeah,
gentrified. Same with the north side, predominantly, Latin neighborhood. Now it's been gentrified. It's, the gentrification of, I think it's relevant across the United States and the world, probably.
absolutely, totally. And there's something to me about that, about being able to recognize the pattern when you're experiencing the pattern, as a Latinx community or the Black community, and seeing that pattern, it makes you feel less alone.
Yeah.
And again, even though the history is ugly in a sense, like it was a beautiful thing that was taken, the unwillingness to forget those stories and continuously tell them, to me, like I said, it creates a strong sense of belonging and self-determination, because we can go back to what things were, or have that kind of returning to moment is what I'm feeling. Yeah.
Nice. And it's kind of, what's the date of the play? Because you've got a date and it's scheduled and you've been practicing. So what date?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Corey, where let me check my calendar. 5 days.
Okay.
For the first performance in Longmont.
In Longmont.
The Longmont Theater Company is going to be at June 19th. And show starts at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yep.
June 19th, first performance. Show starts at 6. Tell us the process, because you wrote it about your home in Indianapolis. Now you're here in Boulder County. It's going to be shown in Boulder County. Mm-hmm. What was the process of getting the people to work with, the actors, getting this up as a theater show? Tell us how you went through that. What were some of the trials and tribulations of that? What was good, what was
absolutely
bad?
Yeah. One of the things is I didn't originally plan to bring the play here. I didn't think that it would have any correlation. And then I was talking with a few people just about, where they grew up and what their neighborhoods were like. And then I'm starting to realize, oh, this is a pattern that happens everywhere. And so, it was just some conversations with some folks, a lot of community support around it. And people were like really kind of encouraging me to bring it forward. So I did that. I talked to some potential sponsors who may be interested. They read it and they were like, yes, like this is, it's not a very, what I keep hearing is it's not a play that's typical to Boulder.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing, right? Giving people something fresh and something different, maybe something that they're not used to, but definitely something that has a big impact. And the process, so part of my story is that for a majority of my adult life in Indianapolis, I spent unhoused.
Okay.
And theater came into my life at a point where I was just transitioning from being unhoused into, becoming a functional member of society. And theater was a huge part of that. It like I said, that sense of belonging, that sense of agency, that sense of forgotten history, really in strength. Like it emboldened me to stand 10 toes, I guess is what I use that phrase.
Yeah.
So part of this theater production was to try to pay that forward. There were a lot of creatives who invested in me, during that time and to see me grow. So I wanted to pay that forward. So that part of the auditioning process was we reached out to organizations like Food Not Bombs, who work
Okay.
with the who pass out food. An organization called Safe. They helped us distribute flyers, and we are really wanting to work with actors who are experiencing houselessness or have in recent years. And that was our original cast, and it was so heartwarming to see how many people showed up and wanted to be a part of the production. But unfortunately, the original cast with many folks that were unhoused because of life circumstances weren't able to see the production all the way through.
Yeah.
We're running into just the survival mode of not knowing where your next meal is coming from.
Yep.
How am I going to be able to rehearse, and just not having that security, which is why a lot of this work is about housing. It's about housing policy and looking at the harms of displacement. A few of the folks that we've gotten the opportunity to work with, who are experiencing housing insecurity, have no idea about Boulder's racial history, and how the Black community was really kind of delegated to the Goss Grove area. Yep. And yeah, it's just I feel that to like having that experience and getting that history is just really important. So we weren't able to see our mission through in that way, is to work with those actors, not in the way that we originally envisioned.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that that is one of the things, like you're saying, when you're hand to mouth every day. What is is going and putting on a play, is that the most important thing you need to do today, or is it like, do I need to eat and find some place to sleep tonight?
Yeah,
and those experiences, yes, could help develop the actor, because they know what they've had, those lived experiences, but there's still those roadblocks. So so you had to adjust from that. So with your new cast, how was that? How did that take off and take shape?
New cast. Well, we ended up just casting original set, and we cast understudies as well. Most of the understudies are Naropa students, actually, which I also attend Naropa, studying psychology.
That's where we met, at the showing of Earth's Greatest Enemy.
That's right. Yeah, right there. But yeah, just a phenomenal cast. Most of them, this is their first production.
Okay.
But what I've come to realize about Boulder and about Naropa specifically is that there's a certain level of mindfulness that students already have, and emotional reach that they have access to, which in other spaces I've been in takes a lot of training, but these actors are just, I keep saying that I just feel that the show is going to be really, really phenomenal, and it's got nothing to do with me. It's all the actors. They're so good.
Nice. Well, you did have to direct them, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the direction it's very relational. Okay. I'm learning from them, and we're sharing, I'm showing them what I'm seeing, but I'm really just loving how they're contributing their thoughts and their ideas into this. It's making it so much better.
Nice. And what do you like more in your personal life, acting or directing?
Good question. Oh, I've got such a big heart for both of them, and they really inform each other in this really beautiful way.
Yeah.
But I think directing.
Okay.
I think directing. Yeah.
And why?
And why?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just really phenomenal to me how the process of theater is cyclical. It's not like a linear, I have a vision, here's how I get that vision. It's like this thing you can't see all the way, but you can see pieces of it, and then you move your positionality or get a little closer and things open up, and then it all starts to create this thing of its own accord, and I can just be an instrument and help move the pieces a little bit to help that vision fully manifest.
Okay.
So that's been really, really fascinating to just watch that.
Okay. And
Mhm.
why'd you choose Naropa for psychology studies? Little off film topic, but fun to
Yeah,
the man behind the film.
for sure. Yeah, well, that is because large part of my time in Indianapolis being unhoused was with mental health, struggles with addiction, and through my recovery process, I've gotten a new opportunity to live a whole and full life and maintain healthy relationships. And me coming to Naropa was for me to better understand the human condition and be
Okay.
able to speak about it to help folks that are having that experience.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have a, a tender heart for folks that are traveling through that journey and
Yeah.
just want to help be of service in any way I can.
That's beautiful, man.
Mhm.
So you're also, I know when we talked briefly, you said you're looking for a director of photography. So are you planning to make this stage play a film as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and we have actually found a videographer. We're working through some of the details now, but
Okay. I'm
yeah,
proud.
we're hoping that it'll be filmed and available here soon.
Okay. And with that, have you seen the movie? It's along similar lines. This is not who we are. It was put out.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna say because when you say the history of Boulder and the Black community in Boulder, that gives a
for
very good
sure.
perspective on it, and there's
Yeah, I know Katrina Miller. I've met Zaid.
okay,
That's a really. In fact, I was on the police oversight panel not long ago, and we screened that film.
okay,
Um, but yeah, that history is just so interesting.
yeah, it is, and I mean, I it is who Boulder is. Like, we can say it's nice, and I've lived here my whole life. I was born in Boulder, and I'm like, if you look, scratch the surface a little, yeah, Boulder is a very. I think it's more classist of a society than a
Yeah,
like southern racist society, but it is still very much a classist society. Like, yeah, you can do everyone's welcome in Boulder if you can pay the admission fee. So,
exactly,
and that's one of the
exactly.
things. Like, there are those pockets, people like you who come and are like, not this is not what I've experienced through my life. So let me show the people in Boulder who haven't. And I think that's an amazing thing, having different stories like that. Um,
Hmm.
with that, have you? So this is your first play. Um,
The
with
first play I've directed,
directed.
obviously I've acted in quite a few plays.
Yeah.
I've written quite a few plays as well. 13 Fires is actually the sixth play that I've written.
Okay.
Um, but the other ones have not been like nothing's been done with them. I just
Okay.
have them.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, this is the
Come around.
first time directing at this capacity.
Okay, nice. Well, good luck, and I can't wait to see it. What about your other plays? Are they all along the same lines? Do you have, or do you do it? Are the other plays, challenges of writing? So you've written a very personal play right now about self experiences that we've seen around in gentrification. Do you
Hmm.
also write any plays, comedies, horrors, just to stretch the
Yeah,
luck?
for sure. Yeah, I would say that I try to mix and match many elements into my plays.
Okay.
Um, you know, um, I wouldn't necessarily call them comedies, but they're comedic elements.
Okay.
Um, Again, with horror, I wouldn't necessarily call them horror, but um, I want to share intense feelings
Yeah.
through my writing, and sometimes um, fear and anxiety and despair are in those. I wouldn't call them horrors though, but I guess it all depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But mostly what my plays are meant to focus around is Black history.
Okay.
Yeah, and just sharing our forgotten stories.
Yeah. Were you able to make Sundance's Black News a couple weeks ago?
I don't think so. No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
It's about the Africana book written by Lewis Gates, and it was thought of by W.E.B. Du Bois. And it's
Mhm.
like that book, but the futurism of what, if all this African history and African American history wasn't lost, the future of that. And it's really, you know,
Ooh.
it's I think like if you can, talk to the Sundance people, they're there. I'm sure they'll let you look at it or ask, but I think you would love it. I was just well put together. Everything was so, just explained and so detailed and visually pleasing,
Mhm.
but still told that, very, very horror filled story of, the Middle Passage and all that. But with the look at, hey, we have a bright future ahead too. So I
Okay.
think, yeah, definitely check out Black News Terms and Conditions. They showed it a couple weeks ago here in Denver, and it was, like I said, it's an amazing film.
Here, can
Um,
you tell me the name of the film again so I can just write it
yeah,
down?
it's Black News, BLK,
Oh, Black News.
NW,
Okay.
yeah, NWS colon
Yeah.
terms and conditions.
Okay. Terms and conditions.
Yeah, like, and
Okay.
they got the soundtrack on vinyl too. I mean, amazing soundtrack. Like, it's a beautiful piece of art. So
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
yeah, no worries. And how long's the run? You say the first shows on Friday or Thursday?
Yeah. First show's on Friday,
Friday.
the 19th, Longmont Theater Company at 6 o'clock. And then we
Mhm.
have three performances at the Dairy Arts Center on the
All right.
24th, the 25th, and 26th.
Okay.
Those are also at 6 o'clock. Our 25th show is
Mhm.
free.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So, and then we have another final performance at the Canyon Library
Okay.
on August 8th, and that's also at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And each talk will be followed by a talk back.
Okay.
So you can talk with the director and the cast and yeah, all of that.
Oh
hmm
man.
And
All
speaking
right.
of talkbacks, there's another event we're holding, a preliminary event called Displacement by Design.
Okay.
Uh, and that is a panel discussion with myself, Council Member Taisha Adams,
Okay.
and a researcher, Sabrina Sadiers,
Okay.
talking about the patterns of displacement and gentrification as of the themes of the play, but how they translate here in Boulder specifically. And the conversations that we've had, one on the 1st of June, we held another one on the 8th, and they were just such rich conversations, not only examining the problem, but looking at potential, solutions, talking about, building co-ops and,
Yeah.
housing policy like the Boulder Equity Plan and how to support those kinds of initiatives. So I've been learning a lot during these panel discussions. Um, and yeah, that the next one we're having is on the 22nd. That's a Monday
Okay.
at the First United Methodist Church. And that is also at 6 o'clock.
Okay. And that's just a discussion, no play.
Yeah, just a discussion, no play, but there will be snippets. We
Okay.
will be doing a scene from the play.
Okay. Nice. And what's the
Mhm.
runtime of the play?
The runtime of the play is about an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Three scenes, intermission. Get the bells. Do you get ring the? Are you going to ring the bells, Adam?
No, there will be no intermission. This is going to
Oh.
be a one act
Oh.
play.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. Um. And what have you learned through your experience, directing and getting this play, to where it is now? What would be the biggest takeaway for, someone just starting, and, what advice could you give the, you know, just starting director, just starting playwright that you've learned?
Yeah, thank you for asking such a meaningful question. Um, I've learned a lot and still learning. There's so many parts of this that are new to me, and how do I, you don't really know what to expect, I think, going into something new, and that can be really paralyzing, right? It can be
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't, you can kind of shy away from it. So one thing I learned is to definitely lean into the uncomfortability, and trust the process. And I don't know, man. A lot of the ways that I move in this world are very intuitively,
Okay.
and just kind of letting my inner guide tell me which direction to go. So if there's any advice that I have, and this, goes across all sectors, trust that inner guide. That inner guide knows things, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, is there anything else, that you'd like the people to know before we wrap up? Any
Absolutely. And I always forget to say this until the end, but I just want to emphasize that the story that we are going to be experiencing with 13 Fires is a true story. This is a real family that we are depicting. And it's just important for me to honor that, to honor their experience in this. So this is more than entertainment, but it's really a way of honoring my ancestors, and again, just a neighborhood that was beautifully thriving and was destroyed. So just want to name that.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
it's like I said, it's beautiful that you're doing this, and I thank you very much for speaking with us today. Curtis Rodgers, we got 13 Fires coming up, so go see it. This is going to come out tomorrow, so you've got a week to get your tickets. Sell it out.
Thank you, Corey. Thanks for having
Thank you,
me.
Curtis.
All right.
I'll stop
Have a good one.
recording. Yeah, you don't have to